It is April 30th, day 40 of renovations. The crew's gotten a little bit more work done around here, and I've been here today chipping away at some electrical in the bathroom. I'll give you a quick update. The walls in the kitchen are officially completely down now. All that's left is the one post that's holding up the other end of the steel beam that they put in. They came in and did a little bit of demo. I think some of this was out already the last time we shot a video here. The plumber has been in here today starting on working the new drain. We're going to relocate the plumbing into this taped off island that's on the floor here. My builder realized there's just enough room to run the vent and drain out in this area, so they're coming to start laying that in. The real interesting thing has been in the bathroom. He's been here working on the drain up in this room. Down in this space here. And the tricky thing is that there are no floor joists in here. I think I mentioned that in the previous video. There's just 2x6s for flooring, so there's nowhere that they can actually run the drain underneath the floor. So what they've got to do is run it down inside of this cavity here, which is just on the inside of the fireplace, behind where our lovely record player cabinet is. So they chipped away at some cinder block here that isn't really structural, and they're running a channel down inside of that and routing it to go drain inside of the utility room here. And I don't think I can actually turn the light on. I think the power's off down in here. But they're going to be draining it down in through here and into the floor drain that is down in this room here. So they had to get a little creative with how they're going to run the drain in here. Let's head on upstairs here, show you what I've been chipping away at. So my work today has been redoing the wiring in this bathroom here. I've got two new GFCIs wired. There was an old one in there that wasn't really properly grounded, although you don't technically have to ground a GFCI because they'll trip on their own anyway. So I've got that one wired in there, and then an additional one that's going to go on the other side of the vanity, so there'll end up being 4 GFCI outlets in the bathroom here. I've got the wiring run for the 2 can lights that are going to go up in here. I've just got one continuous loop going to the 2 of those there. And then I also ran wiring for the 2 sconce lights that are going to go up in this area. The big tricky part was redoing all the switches that are over here in this area. They had them kind of into this one kind of condensed small double switch there, but I wanted something a little bit better. I also wanted to have a dimmer because I'm going to wire all 4 lights simultaneously, and I have a feeling they're going to be pretty bright by the time it's done. So I put in a little slider rocker dimmer and also a fan timer. So there's a little push button here that'll turn on the fan, and you can set it for however many minutes, lets you run it when you're not in the room, and continually get that humidity out of there. And I wired up one of my can lights where one of the sconce lights will go, just as a tester to make sure I'm not a complete failure at electrical work. After a little bit of testing and manipulating, I got everything working okay. Had a little bit of hiccup on the GFCIs, and then a little bit on these switches here. Mostly because I hadn't rewired the fan up there yet. I needed to run new wire because the old one was a little bit short, and I thought I could just leave it open and partially connected to that fan switch, but apparently the breaker thought something was wrong, so I had to actually crawl back up into the attic here to go rewire that fan. I'll try to give you a little tour of what you can actually see up in this attic to give you an idea just how fun it is up here. I think I talked to a few people about this. So there's a couple layers of batt insulation that are up here, and then it's all blown insulation. Let's see if I can get my light here. There's also a bunch of weird random stuff that's stuck up in this area here, including, if you look carefully, a old television antenna that they had inside of this attic space, so you don't see it on the roof. There's actually a second one of these in the other attic space on the lower level too. Eventually I'll probably saw them apart and shove them through this tiny little attic hole here, but it's a real mess, and I've got to surf around on these little bits of plywood and MDF that I've got around here. Eventually I'll kind of tuck that wiring up a little bit so it's out of the way there. I also need to properly vent that fan. It's just going into the attic right now, so I need to route that up into one of these actual vents. But it's quite warm today. It's about 70 degrees outside, so this attic is probably 90 if I had to guess. A little sweaty today. Thankfully I'm just about done in here. The only thing left is properly venting that fan since I've already got the wiring done. So that's the good news, but made some good progress today. Tomorrow I'll be back to drywall the ceiling and keep chipping away at the bathroom.